People miss your best message because their eyes never land there. That's not because they're distracted. It's because the page is not steering attention.
Welcome to Think Shift, the podcast where neuroscience meets business.
Today we're unpacking where eyes really go and how to guide attention so the right message gets seen. If your website has more than one hero message, this matters. Hi Leanne, good to see you again.
Hey Clint, how you going?
I'm good.
How's your week been? What are you wearing?
I'm wearing a hat today because I thought I'd, casual it up a bit. And, you're wearing a nice casual jacket.
I've got a nice denim jacket. Those that are listening, I've got a denim jacket with heart pockets.
Nice.
They're heart pockets.
See, I don't think that you'd call that casual though, per se.
Yeah, I don't do casual very well.
Casual,
I'm always quite dressed up.
Yeah. It's your look. It's your style.
It is.
And so don't change that.
No, it won't be. No. But the hat's good.
Thank you.
The hat's good.
All right.
Because you are a mad Liverpool fan.
Well, yeah, I am. We've had a tough year, so let's not talk about this year's. We're going to get straight into it.
Another great episode.
We're going to talk about where eyes really go.
Yeah, well, right now to your hat, to be
to
honest.
the hat, yes. So the science, we'll go through the science behind how attention gets steered first. Yeah. People do not see what you design, they see what their attention allows. So what actually happens in the first second when someone lands on a page? They read your marketing material, opens your proposal. What actually happens?
So the very first thing is, am I safe here? Is this an environment that I'm okay with, and is it relevant?
Right.
So there needs to be relevancy because the brain will scan, and if it's not relevant, it's like, why am I here? And if it doesn't feel safe, and I'm not talking that you're going to get hurt, but the brain wants to put you in a place where there's comfort.
Right.
And where there isn't too much load. So if it feels that that's not the case, you move away.
Right. And there's a famous experiment or study done, right, by Lingard.
There was.
Run me through what that was.
Yeah. So this was in 2000 and 2006, is the research showed that people would form a judgment of a page in about 50 milliseconds. So we actually talked about this in one of our other episodes, that we think we've got 1 to 3 seconds, which we do to actually absorb information and understand what's on it. But the actual initial impact or the subconscious judgment that we form is 50 milliseconds. So it means that we don't have time to think about it. It's not something that we do. It's an automatic response. And I go back to our dual process theory and system one thinking that's very, very fast. It's there for a reason, because if we don't understand it, if it's not relevant, if we don't feel safe, we're going to move on. Why would you stay? Yeah. So we don't have a lot of time for our first impressions, and we're human nature. We judge, but we don't just judge in terms of visual. We judge in information that we're actually consuming as well.
Right. I don't think I've ever seen so much importance on first impressions actually really matter. Yeah. And now that study has been put in front of me, the 50 milliseconds, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's the same if you're presenting or doing a keynote, or if you are in front of someone. The delivery, the way that you look is there's a rule. 50. It's the 55, 38, 7% rule, and 55 is how you present it. So the delivery, 38% is what you say or your tone, and the 7% is actually the words.
Right. Yes.
So it's like, are you for real? Like I'm an expert here, and I'm talking about it. If you deliver it in a I can't even do it, but in a monotone like this, that's really. But people are going to go, yeah, I don't think so.
Yes.
Even if what I'm saying is you think is captivating, if you're not delivering in a way that's going to capture attention in that first 50 milliseconds, subconsciously, you've lost them. Yeah. So it is really important. So it's a very important study that was done by Lingard.
I know we've moved off from where eyes go a little bit, but I know TEDx or TED speakers are actually trained up in terms of delivery, right? Yes. I mean, their subject matter is usually spot on, but it's how it's delivered.
100%. I've applied actually to be a TED speaker, do a TED talk. It's something that's on my list, one of the things that I want to do. And one thing I do know is they are rehearsed to the nth degree. Like it's unbelievable, and it's around the delivery.
Delivery. Yeah.
So they're subject matter experts. They know their stuff, but they actually have curators, and these are experienced keynote speakers that have curators and guides to help them in the delivery that's good in person in the analog space, but also online, because most are watched online. Yeah.
So there's a term, eye gaze cues.
Yeah.
What is that in plain language?
We are influenced by what other people do and say, but we also are influenced by where other people look. So if someone, just think about it, if I turn my head and look at something, you can't help yourself. You turn and look. You turn and look. And
you don't look.
Don't look. Don't look. Yeah. At 3:00, don't look now. But there is a guy, and what do you do?
Yeah,
you look.
that's it.
You cannot help. And even more so from the eye gaze cues is if you actually turn your head, we subconsciously turn our own.
Right.
Interestingly, someone very clever named Clint Nelson, on my website, so if you go to leannellageconsulting.com and have a look on my page, you will see a picture of me looking up. Now, one thing in particular is normally you would, especially on a homepage of a website, is have if it's a picture of a person or human looking towards a text.
Yes.
So you get someone, they're looking at my picture, I'm looking towards the text. The eye gaze cue is for the consumer to then look at the text. But you very, very cleverly and strategically, using applied neuroscience, have me looking up at the book a call button, at the call to action.
I'm just glad you noticed.
Of course I noticed. It's my job to notice. Otherwise you'll go fight. No, I'm joking. No, we had a lot of fun doing that. But it's very interesting that it is, very different to what people expect. And of course, I've had people say, what are you looking at? Oh, that actually brings attention. Yeah. So super important.
Yes. In terms of utilizing imagery then, let's talk about imagery for a second.
Yeah.
Why do faces sometimes outperform copy, like the visual element?
Yeah, because we see ourselves in a face. It might not be the same face, but we identify as a human.
Yeah.
First of all, it's easier to process. So processing ease of the brain is much easier for an image in general, let alone an actual face. There's relevance or relevancy bias. Also, we tend to like recognizing people. It's, when we look for celebrities, so-and-so looks like that or this. So we actually do, it's something that we enjoy doing, and we find cognitively it's easy. So when we look at faces, and that's why there needs to be human elements to everything that you do.
Yep.
That obviously needs to be relevant. The element needs to be relevant. Ha, 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 ha.
Yep.
But it's true. The element does need to be relevant. Let's make our own cliche, because it's something that, does draw attention, where text, still important, hard to read, more load. The relevancy is there. I've got to search through. I've got to jump into the pool of balls and find the ones that are relevant, where with a human face, it's right there in front of me.
And in terms of, I guess, chunking as well, so making sure that the cognitive load is reduced by inserting imagery throughout walls of copy, if you like. It makes it easier to digest that information, right? Like
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. We need to intersperse. So we find that left brain. You often hear me talk about front brain, back brain a lot, because people go left, right brain. No, let's go front, back. So front, back. We're looking at. There's obviously a lot of different parts of the brain, very important. But we've got our prefrontal cortex at the front, our primitive brain at the back. One is for safety, which is our primitive brain. It upregulates cortisol. Our prefrontal cortex at the front upregulates oxytocin, which I also call the business hormone, because with oxytocin upregulation, it's collaboration, it's partnership, it's it's how great business is done. When we go left, right, we start thinking imagery and text, and so the right part of our brain interprets images. So we then have images on the left, because there is the dissection and the overlap. Like for instance, if someone unfortunately has, an episode or a stroke or something like that, and it's affected their right side of their body, it would have happened on the left part of the brain. Same thing happens here. And then text is interpreted by the left side of the brain, so that's on the right. So that also creates less cognitive load by having your eye gaze follows having imagery. Now you don't want to have it all. There has to be there has to be some challenges and entertainment that the brain feels. Otherwise, it's pretty bland and will get bored. But imagery is much more effective in certain instances on the left and text on the right.
Okay.
Obviously, with my website, the text is on the left, the headline's on the left, and I'm on the right, because more importantly, we have a hierarchy of the call to action, which has to be on the top right. So I need to be on that side.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when does this backfire?
When you're looking away from someone, I guess. So, or where you are directing the gaze to the wrong thing.
So the photo of the person, the eyes are looking away from the copy, or
away from the copy, and I see a lot. And you would say, Clint, I'm interested in getting your opinion and your expertise on this. Stock photos where people think, I need a photo for something, and they'll put in a stock photo, but yet the person in the photo is looking at somewhere else. But it's like, I've got a placeholder, I've got to put a photo in there, and it's got a computer.
Yes.
Or it's got two people talking over in a boardroom or something like that, and they concentrate on that rather than actually looking at the faces and where the gaze is. That's actually more important, and you probably see this too.
I see a bit of it, yeah. It needs to be contextual, so that photography can't just be, and I know we use placeholder a lot, particularly in the early days of designing the site and whatnot, or the user experience, I should say, but contextually relevant photos, super critical. It's easy to do stock these days. It's easy to AI generate something and throw it in, but it can be detrimental to the experience and detrimental to the brand itself.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things I always try to enforce is get yourself a photo shoot, get the team in there, show everybody who you really are behind the scenes, because they're going to check you out.
You don't have to do it. You don't have to pay a lot of money. You can do it you don't have to get super duper,
One of my good clients.
It's got to be really good done.
One of my clients, she's like, I hate being the front of the brand. I don't like being seen. I'm like, unfortunately, you're going to have to be seen, especially in the early days of a business when it's getting off the ground, it's bootstrapping, it's a startup. Your consumer wants to see you behind the brand.
Yeah.
They want to see the human aspect behind the logo in the corner of your website. So you have to bring yourself into it. And what better place than in homepage content, you working with your team, you servicing clients, you just as yourself, photo shoot, got to be done.
Yeah. And that's interesting you say about you're the brand, 100%. I've got a stat for you.
Yes, love a stat.
Over 80% of people, including C-suites and executives, because people think, on social media it's just anyone. No, this is including execs. Over 80% of people will look at your personal profile first, on LinkedIn in particular, before your company. So regardless if you're obviously it's really obvious with me because my name is in my company, but even if it's not, like even Neurodesign, it's Leanne and Clint, people will go to you, Clint, and will go to me, Leanne, before they will go to the Neurodesign page, because they want to know who is the human behind the brand, who are the people, before I, inverted commas, for the listeners, people who are watching, waste my time, or is my time worth going to a website and consuming more information? So I want to see who these peeps are. And they have a look and they go, okay, he's okay. Yeah, she, not so much. Okay. And then
That's not true.
No, it's not. No, they'll go, okay, Clint knows what he's talking about, Leanne knows what he's talking about, and then we go on to Neurodesign and we have a look. And that happens, and I tell a lot of my clients, my big corporate clients, don't think that your individual profiles are insignificant. They're not. They're really, really important. They are looked at before going to. So going back to your, about, your corporate image, but also making sure that everything is relevant, because there are going to be eyeballs on you, and there needs to be eyeballs on you.
Yes. So back to eye gaze and whatnot. So attention isn't earned by adding more. It's earned by guiding the first glance and making sure that it aligns. Content is relevant and contextual to the imagery. Before we go any further, I just want to ask our listeners out there, if you're enjoying this content, please hit like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all the latest that's happening with us and you won't miss a Think Shift episode. We're now going to talk about the practical attention levers and what to adjust. You can steer attention with a few repeatable levers and you don't need a full redesign. So let's talk about those levers. There's 3 of them we're going to talk about here. So level 1 is one key focal point.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, you want one action, something that is easy to consume, that someone in that 1 to 3 seconds, remember you've got 50 milliseconds to get the attention, then 1 to 3 seconds for them to consume it. What is that you want them to do in that 1 to 3 seconds?
Yeah.
What's that focal point?
Yeah.
Don't have 3. You haven't got 3 seconds. 1 second for one, second number 2 for another, second number 3 for the third. It's 3 seconds for one only, and that's one of the biggest boo-boos that we see. You would see you'd see it a lot.
Yes, I do. There is actually a Hicks law here.
Which I mentioned before. Yeah, so every element. So 1952, the industry created something called Hicks law. For every extra element competes for attention. The attention doesn't expand; it gets divided. So if we keep adding things, rather than having our attention that we think, oh, well, we're adding something else on, or we're going to learn something else, or we're going to do something else. No, we're actually diluting, what it means by divided, we're diluting our attention. So nothing gets our attention.
Right.
Because the decisions, so the more decisions that we make, it takes up more time. So we only have a finite amount of time, so we have to dilute that intensity of brain power.
Yeah, wow. Lever 2 is faces and gaze direction.
Yeah.
So use gazes to point towards the message or call to action in terms of your photography.
What you did for me.
Yep.
Genius.
People's eyes move from face to offer to button. So they kind of
to action.
Into action.
Yeah, to action.
Yeah. So lever 3, product grids and browsing.
Yeah.
So reduce visual noise, increase grouping and cues.
Yeah.
It's all about solidifying and distilling.
Yeah.
Distilling down. Less is more. Faster product.
Distilling's made me think that I feel like a gin and tonic.
Or maybe a whiskey.
Oh, maybe.
We were offered one.
We were. I am a G&T girl. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. You
don't mind a G&T.
Yes. Yeah, we might have to do that after this episode.
Not a G&T girl per se.
No.
I'm into G&T.
G&T person.
G&T person. Faster product selection and fewer bounces is the last one there on lever 3.
Yeah.
So finally, we're going to talk about, as a business, what to do this week. You don't need more content. You need clearer cues. How do you audit attention without fancy tools?
So what's someone looking at? Where do they go first? And ask them. It's all around behaviours and monitoring behaviours. And this is I get a little bit funny with, feedback forms and surveys because a lot of it is around biased opinion and expectation of behaviour. And sometimes what I always say, those of you that know me I say these accidental lies.
Yeah.
What is the expected behaviour?
Yeah.
What is it? So rather than getting someone to fill in, what did you look at first? Look at them. Where are their eyes going? What is it that they're actually looking at? Because often you don't even realise, and you can use heat mapping software over the top as well. On if it's a digital product, you can put a heat mapping on top. Obviously, if it's an analog product, not so much. But what is it? Yeah. What are they actually doing first? Ask them, what was it that they saw? What colour did they see first? What font did they see first? What image did they see first? What word did they see first? What CTA did they see first? What captured their attention in that first 1 to 3 seconds? Because whatever happened with the impression in the 50 milliseconds impacted the impression in the 1 to 3.
Right.
Yeah.
I think as well, user testing is so critical in bigger budgets and whatnot, businesses that can allow for that in their business plan. Always testing what the users are doing. So get a large group together, people that don't know you, have no bias.
Yeah.
To test.
Or a bias against you in a way. Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
can
absolutely.
Be.
Yeah.
And then test it. It doesn't even just have to be on websites. I mean, marketing collateral as well, and proposals and whatnot. Getting a feel for what are people actually reading and doing on your business.
Yeah. One thing I was going to talk about around proposals when you said that, but there was another question I wanted to ask you. Have you ever used heat mapping?
Limited.
Okay.
My teams have.
Okay.
So a lot of development teams that I work with do.
Right.
It's one thing that I always offer as a service to my clients to say, we can set this up for you. again.
So is it a subscription mechanism with a third-party product?
It is. Right. There's things called SEMrush, Screaming Frog, and a whole bunch of others that will do that for you, but at a cost. So I guess it's up to us to talk about value around why you should do that, but it's usually a budgetary line item that is looked over. It's like, I don't need that until later when you actually come back and go, I
should have. You can actually learn a lot from that, though. You actually learn a lot, but also not only that, for you and I and the work that we do, also patterns of behaviour.
Right.
I'm all about, behavioural science, behavioural economics, is patterns of behaviour to transact. So I know about it. I know how it works. I'm not that familiar with it, but I thought you would be, and it'd be interesting. Some of our listeners might be as well.
Absolutely.
Want to know. If you've got any questions around heat mapping, just shoot them through as well.
Yep, we can answer those.
Yeah.
So there are some measuring things we could do on your platform or website, and I'm going to run through a few of those here. So measure calls to action and click-through rates on those calls to action. Mm-hmm. Again, you'll need some kind of analytics setup, GA4 or whatnot, to be able to do this. Scroll depth for first click, so that's measuring
analytics, right? GA4.
Yes, I think scroll depth is under that. It might be under your heat mapping software to know where they first click. Bounce rate on landing pages, so finding out where are your users going. Are they coming to a landing page and they're just leaving straight away? And there can be a variety of reasons for that. It could be what is the product market fit from the advertising you've sent these users to. Is there one? Is the messaging clear? Is the product and service clear? Like, there's so many reasons there can be a bounce rate, right? But knowing that there is one is the first step. And then video hold rate in the first 2 seconds. Is there a video on a page and are people watching the video, watching it to the end? How far into the video are they watching? You can track all that these days depending on what platform you're with. If you're using, I think Vimeo has a tracker that can tell you straight away, they're leaving at minute 1 and not watching the other 4 minutes or whatnot.
How dare they?
How dare they? How dare they?
Well, it needs to be interesting and captivating.
It does. It absolutely does. Again, hire a professional to do that for you. Here's the shift. Attention is not a personality trait. It's a design outcome. People follow cues. If you don't provide cues, they leave. Attention follows cues. One action for the listener this week: pick one high-traffic page on your website, run a 3-second test, then remove one distraction and make one action obvious. That's Think Shift. I'm Clint.
I'm Leanne.
One idea, one shift in under 30 minutes. If this changed how you think, share it with someone who makes decisions for a living.
And follow Think Shift on all the socials. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss what shift is coming up next week. See you in the next episode.
See you soon.
This is a Marchmade Media production.